Hello, welcome to Divorced in Utah. I'm your host, Paula Whitaker, and I am so excited to be here and to be back home. I don't know if you know, but I took a road trip with my two daughters, my 16-year-old and my 9-year-old, and we went to Niagara Falls. And we stopped in, to see Mount Rushmore. Then we stopped in Chicago and had a day there. And then we got to Niagara Falls, and that was fun. And then we drove all the way back. So I am tired, to say the least. Hi, Sheldon. Thanks for joining me. I did a road trip, and I listened to tons of podcasts. And so I wanted to know from you guys, do you listen to podcasts? And you can just type yes or no in the comments. And if you do, what podcasts do you listen to that you think are really good? Because I have a confession. So yesterday I had a little technical difficulty. So I pre-recorded this in case I wasn't going to be able to come live. And I'm also thinking about doing I forgot to put my phone on Do Not Disturb, so I got a phone call. Sorry, guys. But I'm also thinking about doing a podcast. So what I did was I had my podcast microphone and I recorded this session. And when I went back to look at it, my audio was recorded, but my video was recorded, but my video there was no sound. So it was just me. And so there was no sound. So my audio though was in another software called Audacity. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I just did all that work, and now I have to either try and figure out how to make the audio with it. My 16-year-old said, well, why don't you just tell them you're going to post the video and they can practice their lip reading skills, which I thought was pretty funny. So I thought, no, that's funny, but that's not gonna happen. So anyway, so I'm trying to do a podcast. I want to take these lives and make them a podcast as well. So my question to you is, do you listen to podcasts? And would that be something you are interested in? And if you do, which podcast do you listen to? So, okay, let's do a little housekeeping. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it's August already. School's gonna start soon, and the leaves are gonna be falling, and we're gonna have Halloween. I was in Michael's the other day looking for crafts for my kids to do on the trip, and they had Halloween decorations up, and I'm kind of starting to freak out that it just seems like life is moving way too fast. Okay, so some updates. Our online WIN groups start next Wednesday, so that's August 7th at noon. If you're interested, make sure that I have your email, okay? So I can send you the invite. Also, I know the format's gonna be a little different because not everyone can talk because they'll be at work or they'll be somewhere. So how the format's gonna be is whatever I talk about on Friday, which is today, we will discuss even further on Wednesday. So, hi Daylene. So on Wednesday, we're gonna talk about why do I let things bother me. So today you can listen and you can ask questions or whatever through the comments. And then we're gonna dive into it more on Wednesday for our online, I'm not calling them support groups because I don't think they're gonna be formatted that way. They're gonna be WIN groups, what's important now, and we'll have, that's what we'll talk about is that topic. So if you like that, just say yes in the comments. And then my other housekeeping thing is the dating groups. So I am going to launch an event late September. We're going to have an event. It's going to be on a Friday night. It'll be about 2 hours, and it includes food. And what it will be is we'll do speed dating with blindfold meals. So that, more to come on that. Of course, since it includes food, I have to get a place. I will charge for it. But my goal is to have 20 women and 20 men. And we will, and I'll tell you more about it as I get closer, but that is just a little kind of hint of what's coming. So if you are interested, please register. Go to my website, divorcedinutah.com / I think dating groups. So just go to divorcedinutah.com and then you'll see the groups and then click and register. Okay. So that's it for our housekeeping issues. Okay. So why do I let things bother me? So I was thinking about that and I thought, well, whose habits bother you the most? Is it your exes? Is it your significant other? Is it your kids, your coworker, strangers, family, friends? So it depends on who we're talking about on some of my, little things that you can, my tools. So it all depends. Now, if it's strangers, you're going to kind of do it differently. If it's someone, kids, or people that you're living with, then you'll do, things a little differently on how you can handle their habits not trying to bother you, okay? So you can't let the behavior of others steal your joy, okay? I'm gonna say that again. You can't let the behavior of others steal your joy. So we're only on this earth for a limited amount of time. Let's focus on the things that are the most important and that bring us the most joy. And so I've got some tools together to help you do that, okay? So the things that you need to be aware of, okay? You can't control others, and worrying about what they do and constantly worrying only hurts you. It takes up space in your brain that you can use for other better things, okay? So that's number one. You can't control them. I think we all love control in our lives. We all love to have control, but not, so it gives us security. But there's things we have to let go of. And I think that could be harder than having just the control over everything. Like letting go of something and knowing you can't control them, I think takes a certain amount of talent, patience, maturity. You don't want to enable their behavior. Okay, so if let's say it's your kids, and let's say they are leaving their shoes out in the hall and you can't, and you're tripping over them. So if you pick them up every night and put them away, you're enabling them. I know it's something as simple as that, but that is enabling. It never teaches them. It never teaches, if someone's doing it for you and picking up after you, then you never learn. It's your way of trying to control them and the situation. So look at it that way. I always am told hey, you teach a man to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. You give him a fish, you feed him for a day. And it is true. And my house it's so messy because I tell people I am training my kids on how to clean. And it's not going to be pretty. It's going to be messy because they're not going to clean like I clean, and they are new to cleaning, right? I've had years. So it's a work in progress, and I think we don't want to be judged by others. I think it really comes down to how we think others view us. We treat people with more kindness when we know their story. So I have actually, when I used to work and when I used to go into a job, I didn't share my personal life with them because number one, I didn't think they cared. And number two, I thought, well, I'm here to work, and not share stories. But then when things happened at work and they didn't understand my personality or why I would do the things I did, that came back to bite me because they didn't know, they didn't know me. And when people know you and they know why what's going on in your life and why you're 5 minutes late or why you talk to people the way you talk to them, they are more forgiving. If we know people's story, there was this story that I heard of this lady. She was an older lady, and her and her husband shared a bathroom sink, and there was always these splash marks on the mirror. And she got so mad. She never talked to him about it. She never said anything, but she was like, he constantly puts these splash marks on the mirror and I'm constantly the one cleaning up and wiping it. And it bothered her so much. And it just made her, like, she'd start her day seeing it and she hated it and she'd end her day with that. And then one day her husband passed away. So she had cleaned the mirror. And then a couple days later, or a day later, she noticed that the splash marks were there. And they weren't his splash marks. They were hers. When she brushed her teeth or whatever she did, she splashed the mirror. And that whole time, she'd been blaming him and hating him, kind of hating him or, getting upset at him in her mind, that it ruined, I don't want to say their marriage, but it ruined like their relationship. It didn't help it. So that, I always think of that story. When I get upset at someone else, I think, am I causing this in any way? Because you could be, right? Okay. So if you are frustrated with somebody, okay, something's happened. Let's say you stepped on a Lego. Let's say your ex said something to you, or who knows, you're swapping off the kids and something happens and you guys are spending some time together. So check your heart rate. So I just learned this. I know this. So I have a smartwatch. If you have a smartwatch, you can check your heart rate. And mine is about 68 when I'm resting. If you go over 100, you're usually like in fight or flight mode. And you need to give yourself a timeout for about 20 minutes. And so I know my watch, when I go over 100, it tells me to breathe. I always thought, oh, look, it's telling me to breathe. Oh, I must be stressed. So that's a good indicator, like, that your blood pressure is rising, that you're getting frustrated. And so you need to not talk to anybody or make decisions when you're in that condition. So that's one way you can recognize it. You can also, some people get hot, some people have a red face, some people sweat. So when you start to get escalated and you start to get uncomfortable, those things happen. So if that happens, then also take a break, okay? Don't hold on to the negative thoughts. You need to flip the switch in your brain on how you view them. So the negative thoughts, I have to say, when I was married, I picked up after my ex all the time. And while I was doing it, I talked to myself and said, I can't believe he won't do this. I can't believe he won't pick up after himself. I'm not his slave. I'm not his cleaner. And that only did damage to our marriage. And so you have to change your thoughts. So for example, this morning I woke up, I feel really bad. I have a headache, a pounding headache. I think I'm getting sick. I don't know. But I went, oh my gosh, I have these things I have to do today and I have to go live. And I went, I got to change my mindset. I got to go, you're feeling great. You're feeling wonderful. Do something. And of course I didn't go like running or anything, but I just changed it. And I think I used to do theater and the show must go on, right? The show has to go on. So you got to I thought I can get through 15 minutes. So I really believe in the power of your mindset. It really, really changes things. Now I've lost my place. Okay, so another thing you can do is if you're right in the current situation, this is actually what my son's therapist told him. I really liked it. I go to some of the sessions. And he said, you use your 5 senses. Okay, so I'm sitting here, I'm having a discussion, it's getting heated, and I'm like, okay, I gotta take a break. How do I distract myself? They say, start noticing things around the room. So start noticing smells. What do you smell? What do you hear? What do you feel? Like, I have this water bottle. I'm gonna share my water bottle. So I feel this water bottle. So it has a nice little feel. So they say, focus on your senses and use those to calm yourself down and to distract yourself, to change your mindset. So I loved that tip. And I do that. A lot of times I don't like smell a lot. I like feel and touch. And I wonder if that is why the slime and the putty and all that stuff's so popular now, because when you sit and do that, it's very calming and relaxing. And you can write about it. So if you're in the heat of the moment and you need to get away, go write or go for a walk or run. I never went for a walk or run. I'm sure people do. A walk isn't a bad idea, but when I go out for a walk, I don't know. It might work. It might work. Let me know if you go for a walk and it works, okay? Okay, so those are some things that you can do, and I would love to know if any of those work for you. If you have any other things that work for you, feel free to put down in the comments. So our own behavior can play into this puzzle, okay? And a lot of times we're so focused on the other person's behavior, on what they're doing and what they're not doing, that we aren't noticing that we can be triggering those behaviors with our own behavior. Kind of deep, huh? So if you have a loved one that's causing you stress in their behavior, you can use these tools to have an open discussion about it. Okay, I say loved one, someone that you're dealing with on a daily basis. That can be a coworker, that can be your ex, someone that it's not a stranger. It's not someone who's cut you off while you're in traffic. It's someone you have to deal with on a daily basis, okay? So you need to raise awareness, okay? If they don't know, they're never gonna change. So you need to say, and you need to use an emotion, because they've done studies, and when you use an emotional word, they are more likely to pay attention. And I tried that, blank. So I feel sad when you don't put your shoes away. I would love it if you could put your shoes away. And so I would say why I felt sad. Because I wanted to relax, I wanted to lay down on my couch, and now I have to get up and bend over, now my back hurts, and I would explain that a little bit more to kids. So they are definitely more responsive. I think if someone came to you, you have to reverse it and said, it makes me feel really frustrated or disappointed. There are so many words, and we only use like 6 to describe our emotions. So Google adjectives to describe your emotions, and there's a list of them. I might have to put that up in my house. That's a good idea. Okay, stay away from absolutes like never and always. And I have to say, I am guilty of that. I always say those words. I do. I would say you never, or I always, or you always. And someone pointed it out to me, and I thought, why does that matter? So this is telling them that their behavior is constant and that they do it all the time. And then they'll be defensive because that you're attacking them. And it doesn't lead into any solutions. It just closes the door. So stay away from those. It's okay to complain, but not to blame. Okay? It's not okay to criticize. If you're too critical, then they'll be in the defensive mode, and that won't help the situation. So I love that. It's okay to complain, but not to blame. I think I'm going to put that somewhere. There's just I have to say, my daughter did a lot of the driving when we were when we were driving cross country. And she got very frustrated at the other drivers and why they were doing this and why they weren't doing that. And I noticed how she got worked up, and I thought, I used to be that way, when I was younger, because you are scared and you're trying to play by the rules, and the rules aren't very clear. So you are frustrated that you don't understand why they're doing it or why they're cutting you off. And you also, this is what I would think, is they were doing it to be, mean. Like, they're going so slow, I'm going to get around them and show them. And it's funny, the cars that like pass you and just speed up so fast, I thought, you know what? It's life. Isn't life about the journey, not about the destination? And so if people started to get, real close to me, I would just move over because, you're supposed to be in the right lane anyway, because passing's left, and let them go. I thought if they're in that much hurry, there's something going on in their life and they need to get to wherever they're going. And there's so many talks and I've heard of so many stories of people trying to teach the person behind them a lesson by going really slow, and then that person can't get around. And then I've heard that person behind them had an emergency, and that there was they were trying to get somewhere to the hospital or something. And so I always just think, just let them go. I mean, if they're in that big of a hurry, just go, right? And it doesn't bother me as much as it used to. And I think it's because I'm getting older and I'm understanding more about like what life is really about. Life is about people. It's about relationships, and it's about connecting with others. It really is. Like our to-do list, our checklists, all of those things, they're not important. And so that's what we have to remember. So we need to retrain our brains to focus on other people's positive attributes. Okay, that's hard. And then things won't bother you as much. So instead of, while I'm picking up her shoes and moving them to the closet, well, which I shouldn't be doing because I don't want to enable it, I should, instead of thinking bad thoughts, I should think, you know what? She's such a good artist, or I love how she is like ready to help out at a moment's notice, and think of all the amazing things. And you can do this for your ex too, because we are divorced in Utah. So I think a lot of us are having to co-parent with their ex. I have to co-parent with my in-laws. So there's things that drive you bonkers, but there are good in everyone. And think about if you have kids, think about how that affects your children. Like, do your children love them, and why? And the good that adds to your kids' lives, and their self-esteem. I heard this, I can't remember who said it, but someone said, the more adults that you have in your children's lives that love them, that genuinely love them, the better off they will be as they, grow older and move out. They will be more confident. They'll be happier. And so instead of trying to take away everybody that I see might have a bad influence, I think I need to weigh it out, the pros and the cons, and what is more important right now. If you have children, it's our kids. If you don't, it's you. You are the most important, and we're the most important anyway, but for right now I'm focused on my kids. But really, it is us. We need to, if our cup isn't full, the goal is to have our cup overflowing so that we can help others, not half full. Half full is the bare minimum. Half tank of gas, half everything. I actually filled up my gas tank when it got to half, because I was like, I don't know when I'm going to see another gas station. I don't want to be in an emergency situation. And so I think that is good if we can do that with our own lives. We always should be at that half tank, but better yet, we should be full so that we can help others, and that when someone else is having an emergency, we have stuff to give. And that can be for anybody in our lives, coworkers, kids, parents, anybody. So, okay, that's my deep thought for today, and I really, really hope, let me make sure I got through everything. So let me know if you like podcasts. Let me know which ones, and please feel free to put that in the comments. Hi, Amanda. And I think that was it. And then make sure that I have your email so that I can send you the invite for the online win groups. And then the dating groups, I'm working on that this week. I'm working on a location. It's going to be in Salt Lake County, and I'm going to give away tickets to that as well. But I would love it if you spread the word, but I'll have marketing stuff for that. And so I'm going to close it at 20 men and 20 women. And I'm thinking ages, because I don't want it to be ages like 20 to 60, because that's too broad. But I'm thinking maybe ages 30 to 50. That age group for the dating event. So I'll let you know more when I get that worked out. So I am closing it though. I've heard tons of feedback from other speed dating groups, and I guess the biggest one that I heard was they don't close the door, and so then it's not really organized, and then usually there's more women than men, and that's not going to happen. So even if I have to give away the tickets, we will have 20 available single men and 20 available single women. So I will make sure that happens. That's a guarantee. And I think that's all for now. So I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Please join me on Wednesday at noon. That'll be our first one, so I'll have to kind of figure out how to work it. But anyway, I would love to see you there, and that's it. So bye for now.